Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. My name is April Sunday for those of you who are new, and today I'm going to be showing you my foundation routine. I feel like a lot of people struggle with their foundation routine because they don't know what primer to use, even what foundation to use for their skin type, or they don't know how to make it last longer. And I just want to show you like how I do it to make mine last longer, to make mine look good. And if maybe you'll learn something here today too, so if you wanted to see this video, then keep on watching. Alright guys, so first and foremost, I always wash my face before I apply any makeup. Why? Because your face carries dirt, and you don't want dirt and then makeup on top of it because you will break out, your pores will get bigger, your blackheads will get bigger. You don't want that at all. So for the love of Jesus, wash your face beforehand and you'll have a clean base before you apply any makeup, and that's what you want. You want a clean face. It'll make your makeup look better, so definitely do that. And then you moisturize your face with any moisturizer that you love, so just put that on, just hydrate your face a little. And then I go in with the primer. So my favorite primer is the Farsali Unicorn Essence. I kind of feel bad saying this on because this is so expensive. It's like, it's $54 on Sephora. Why? I don't know, but this stuff is like crack on my face. This makes my face feel so hydrated. I feel like it plumps my face. There's anti-aging in here, and it's also tacky. Some people don't feel that, but for me, I feel like my face gets tacky, which I like because I feel like my foundation sticks better. But yeah, and I have dry skin, so this stuff, I think this stuff is for all skin types too. But this stuff is so good, but it's just so expensive. Something that I also like that's not as expensive, but it's still on the pricey side. I think it's $36. It's the J1 Jelly Pack. It's firming and it's pore smoothing. It's so tacky too. This stuff will make your foundation stand for the longest time. And it's really thick. What I do is I don't know if you can it's like a really thick. Kind of looks like glue on camera, but it's not, obviously. But it's really thick. What I like to do is blend it out with my fingers because I feel like a beauty blender doesn't really blend it out well because of how thick it is. But yeah, that's a good one. It's still pricey, $36. But again, I like primers that'll work for my face. It makes my foundation stay on longer, and these two are my top right now. So today I'm going to be going with the Unicorn Essence. I want to just show you guys how good I can get my foundation to look, although I know it's expensive, but I just want you guys to see why this is my favorite primer. And yeah, I'm going to go in, and it's so pretty. It's pink. It smells good. It feels good. I already feel it, that it's so hydrating, and it's amazing. And it's tacky, which I love, and I feel like it plumps my face. So when you go in with a primer, you want to blend it out with your fingers or with a brush, however you do it, but then you want to push it in your skin. You don't want to just rub it and have it sit on top of your skin. You really want to push it inside your skin, and that'll really help activate it. Another tip for the primer, you always want to give it time to activate on your skin. You don't want to go in right away with foundation because you want it to set in your face. You want it to melt in. You want it to do its job. So make sure you give it like 1 or 2 minutes before you apply your foundation, so that way it really does what it's supposed to do, and then the foundation will obviously look better afterwards. So for foundation today, I'm going to be going in with the Too Faced Born This Way. This is medium to full coverage, and if you don't already know, I love full coverage foundations, and this one's very buildable. So if you go in and it's medium coverage, I can go in with another layer without it looking cakey. So this one is a really good one. And it's oil free, so if you have oily skin, it's great for oily skin types too. So yeah, I'm going to put this on my Morphe Beauty Blender. I'm just going to dab that on my face. And then I'm going to, oh, got it in my hair. Okay, cool. I'm going to dab that on my face, and then I'm just going to blend this out with the Beauty Blender as well. So another tip for applying foundation, I always use a Beauty Blender, and I feel like, not always, but I feel like this applies my foundation better than anything else. And yeah, so I use a beauty blender. I feel like it really gets it into the skin, so that way it makes it look more natural, I guess you can say. Whereas like a brush, I feel like it leaves me more streaks. And if I do use a brush for my foundation, I always use a beauty blender afterwards just to make it look more blended. But yeah, that's another tip. So this is what the first layer looks like, and it definitely is medium coverage, medium to full coverage, but I want to go in a little more just because I do have some redness on my cheeks that I want to go over. So I'm going to just do like a half a pump. I'm just going to apply it on my cheek area and then blend it out. So another thing with foundation, guys, do not ever forget to put it on your neck. Why? Because when you're out in public, no matter how beat to the gods your face is, if you have this line right here, it will ruin everything. It just looks so bad. It looks like you literally have a mascot, and you do not want that. So just always drag it down your neck. Always drag it down your neck because you want these two to match. That way it doesn't look off. But yeah, that's definitely a huge thing you need to note every time you put on your foundation, because I see a lot of girls that still really don't like to blend down, or they just forget. And I understand that. Foundation, you feel like it's just for your face. You just want to stop here. But always remember to just drag it down your neck and let your skin match. But that's a huge thing to remember when you're applying foundation. So this is what my face looks after I applied the foundation. And I think it looks so good. It's full coverage after a pump and a half, which is awesome because the less of this you use, the longer it lasts and the more money you get out of it. So this is definitely a great one. And if you don't want to spend that much money, I have a drugstore brand by e.l.f. This is e.l.f. foundation. I don't know what the specific foundation is called, but this stuff is so good. It feels lightweight and it's so full coverage. Like every time I apply it, I'm just like amazed at how great the coverage is on this. I wouldn't recommend this to oily skin though, because it does have SPF 15 on here, and this will make your makeup melt off way faster. So yeah, this is not a good one, but if you want a good recommendation, if you have oily skin, I recommend the Milani Conceal+Perfect foundation. That stuff is so good for any skin type, and it's full coverage. It doesn't like melt off. So yeah, that one's a really good one too. So after my foundation, I go in with a concealer, and I always use a lighter shade concealer because I like to brighten up all the areas that I do put concealer on. My number one concealer is a Tarte Shape Tape. This stuff I haven't used a concealer that beats this. It is so full coverage. It's creaseless, so if I put it under my eyes, I do always have creases no matter what, but it just makes it, the creases aren't as crazy as if I use something else. But yeah, this stuff is so good and it just lasts so long. So if you wanted something cheaper, I recommend the Instant Age Rewind Concealer by Maybelline. This stuff's really good too. It's not as full coverage as the Shape Tape, but it is full coverage. And yeah, this really does conceal everything. And I also use a lighter shade in this too because I like to highlight the parts where I do put my concealer. And I also recommend the LA Girl Pro Concealer. This stuff is really good too. It's super thick, and I like thick concealers just because I feel like covers more of everything. But yeah, these are the two that I recommend after the Tarte Shape Tape. So I'm just going to apply this under my eyes, and this goes a long way, so I don't use a lot of it, and it's $24, so I'm trying to save this because your girl ain't rich. But then I put it on my forehead, down my nose, on my cupid's bow, on my chin. And if you do have smile lines, another trick you can do is you can use your concealer and just go over your smile line, so it helps from having it sink into your smile line. So I'm going to go back in with my Morphe sponge. I feel like nothing blends out concealer better than a sponge, and I've used every brush that I have and just nothing blends it out as well as this does, so I recommend using a sponge. But yeah, I just blend this out, and for the Tarte Shape Tape, it does dry on the faster side, so I like to go in pretty quickly afterwards and just blend everything out. I also put it on top of my lids just because I used this Tarte Shape Tape as a primer too for eyeshadow. That was so weird, me talking to you while my eyes like, ugh. But I like using the Tarte Shape Tape as eyeshadow primer just because I feel like it covers all of my veins that I have up there. And yeah, so that's another thing I'd recommend. So after blending out all that concealer, I go in with a setting powder pretty quickly because I don't want my concealer to crease up on me. And what I use is DERMABLEND loose setting powder in Original. This stuff, I don't know what they put in there, but every time I use it, someone's like, oh my god, your skin is so smooth, like what do you use to clean your face, or what foundation are you using? And I'm like, nah girl, it's the DERMABLEND. And everybody's just so amazed at how my face looks, and even I am, like, it just smooths out my face. It makes everything look so flawless. So this stuff I really recommend. The only thing I don't like is this. If you bake with this, it will give you flashback. So what I do to reverse that is I take a brush, any brush really works. I go in with a light face powder. I like to use the Lyric shade in the Shade and Light palette by KatVonD, this middle one right here. And I just like to really put a lot of it on that brush, and after I'm done baking, I'll wipe it off with this on, so that way it kind of like puts another color in there so it doesn't give you flashbacks. But if you also want a drugstore one, and this doesn't give you flashback if you bake with it, is the AirSpun Loose Face Powder. This stuff is like everyone's favorite. I think it's like $6 or $8 at a drugstore. This is really, really good, but it doesn't smooth out my face like the DERMABLEND does, so this is why this is still my #1. But yeah, I go in with the Beauty Blender as well. So I'm not going to bake today just because I don't do that on a regular basis, and I want to show you guys what I do, like my actual routine is. And what I do is I use my Beauty Blender again, and I pick up some product, and I just go over the spots that I concealed with. So under my eyes, I like to go from out to in, so that way if there are creases, they'll blend right back out. So I'll go in, and I'll just press it in my skin. And I did pick up a good amount of product but because I'm pressing it in, it kind of like dissolves into the skin, and that's what you want. I'll even put it on my eyelid too, just because I did put concealer on there, and I want to set the concealer up there because I don't want to crease that spot either. And you can already see how like smooth this area looks. Like it's just so, it's so weird what this face powder does. I'm just going to go in my chin. Like I said, everywhere where I put the concealer, I'm just going to go over it. And then I do have smile lines. It's like one of my biggest things that I like, my problematic areas are here. So my foundation does seep into my smile lines, and what I like to do is I like to put the setting powder, really pack it up on top of there so it doesn't make the foundation, well, it still will, but it doesn't make it look so bad. But yeah, just go over it. And then I'll take like a big fluffy brush, and I'll put some of that same DERMABLEND powder, and I'll just set the rest of my face. But I don't need so much setting powder on these areas just because I do put powder over it. But here is like, it's done. You don't really have to touch these areas anymore. Okay, so now I'm going to bronze up my face, and I'm going to go in with the Shade and Light palette by KatVonD, and I'm just going to take this middle shade right here. I'm just going to go in with it, and then I'm just going to bronze up the areas where I usually bronze, and that's going to be inside your cheekbones, this stuff is really good. This kit is amazing. Again, KatVonD is a high-end brand, so if you want a cheaper brand from the drugstore, I recommend the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. That stuff is so good, and it smells amazing. But I'm going to go in with the other side. And I just do my temples as well, or yeah, around my temples, just to make my forehead appear smaller. This kit just has the most beautiful colors in it, and that's why I love this Shade and Light palette so much. Then I'll even put it like on my jawline just to give this some color, because my face does look a little washed out after I put the setting powder. So this bronzer is just to give color to your face, to make you look like that you have a tan. And yeah, so I just use like a really big fluffy brush. This is by MORPHE, it's R2. And this is a really, really good bronzing brush just because it gets like the areas that you want it to. So after I bronze up my face, I like to contour, and I like to contour with the MORPHE R10. And again, I go back in with the Shade and Light palette, and I go in with the darkest shade right here. And I just tap a little bit, and I really tap off the excess. And then I just go super, super close up here. I don't like to drag it all the way down because I don't like it when it gets super close to my mouth, just because I feel like it looks like I have a 5 o'clock shadow rather than a contour. But yeah, I just like to put a little definition up here. I don't know if you can already tell the difference, but this already looks like more chiseled than the other cheek. Again, I'm going to go in with the other side and do the same thing. So if you feel like you went in too much with the contour, you go back in with a bronzing brush that you use, and you don't put any more bronzer on there. You just, whatever's left on here, and you go back and you really blend that out, just so everything blends out and doesn't look so harsh. And see if it settles it. Or what you can do as well is you can go in with some setting. That's what I'm going to do with the other side. You go in with some setting powder, and I'm going to go back in with a DERMABLEND just a little bit, and then you go over it, and that does the same thing, same trick. Yep. If anything, it settles it more than if you just use the brush. So every time I contour, I always like to take my sponge, and I like to go back in with the DERMABLEND powder, and I like to sharpen up the contour. This is why I love this sponge so much, because it has like a sharp line to it on top, so it's really, really great to like cut out your contour. So what I do is just go right underneath the contour, and I just really cut that out, and it really sharpens it up down there. Then I'll do the same thing on the other side. And I only let it sit there for a couple of seconds, not 10 minutes, because it really does leave like a white cast on your face if you leave it on too much, especially this, because like I said, if you bake with this, it gives you a flashback. So I don't like to keep it on too much. So it's been like 10 seconds, and then I'll wipe it off. And boom, it's cut. It looks so good. Okay. So then I go in with a Milani powder blush. This is my favorite blush. It's number 1. It's Romantic Rose. This is the perfect mute rosy color. I think it looks so beautiful on my skin color, because it's such a mute pinky shade that it just gives like the most natural rosy cheekies that you can have. But how I apply blush is I smile, and then the apples of my cheeks, I apply that there, and then I drag it back to really blend it in with the bronzer and the contour. Do you see how beautiful that color just makes it look so natural rather than like super in your face? And that's why I love this one so much. So after the blush, I like to go in with the highlight, and I love highlight. It's my favorite thing to do on my face. Like, I love when I'm walking down the street and like the sun hits my face, and it's just like, boom, I'm here. You're gonna know I'm here because of this highlight. And you're gonna realize how much I love it with my go-to highlighting process, because you're gonna be like, you're effing crazy. I use 3 different products. Huh? Yeah, that's a lot, but I just love the way it looks. So this is my go-to, but I'm use the Cover FX as like a base, the custom enhanced straps in Sunlight. This alone is blinding. Like, I'm going to show you, I'm just going to put this on my hand. Like, that's 1 drop, and already, oh my god, like, it's ridiculous. This stuff is amazing. It's so reflective, and I use this as a base, because I like to put powders on top of that. But yeah, I'm going to go in with this, and I like to do one side at a time, because I feel like it dries up pretty quickly, and you want to blend it out right away before it just leaves like dots on your face. So what I do is I put a couple dots just where I like to highlight. And I have textured skin, so where I like to leave my highlight is just around this area. I don't like to drag it all the way down, because then you can really see like my texture, and it's so ugly. So I'm going to go back in with the sponge, and I'm just going to blend that out. Okay, and then next, grab this brush. I'm going to take a Morphe M10, and I'm going to go in with OFRA Rodeo Drive. I love this highlight. I love their highlighters, period, because they're so they don't sit on your skin. They more like melt. They look like they're a part of you. Like, I don't know, it's creamy. It's just so, and they're blinding. And it doesn't look like it's sitting on your face. It looks like it really is blending in, and that's why I love these highlighters. And again, this one's Rodeo Drive. I'm just gonna put that on the same area. I don't even care. I love it. So whatever. And then lastly, I go in with the Kylie Jenner. This is obviously new. This was from her, well, not new, but it's newer. It's from her vacation edition collection, whatever. This is in Fiji. This is a loose highlighting powder, like a loose powder. And I love loose powders. It's either this or my Artist Couture loose powder highlighting in Illuminati. It's just so good. I just put a little bit on the brush and I just dab this right on the center just to give it like that much needed extra oomph to your already blinding highlight. But I just love it because it just really brings out like everything. You can like see it just right. Oh, it's so pretty. And again, I'm just gonna go with the other side. I'm just gonna put that in the center. So after I finish that, I go in with my face and I'm just gonna use this brush. I don't pick up any more highlight because, girl, I don't want no more highlight all over my face. This is where I just want the beam from. And I just highlight like on top of my brow bone, down the bridge of my nose, Cupid's bow, and on my chin. So after I do that, I go back in with a sponge and I just like to tap over it just to really blend it out and really sink it into your skin. And then I go in with a setting spray just to really have everything melt in your face before I go in with the eyes. And my favorite setting spray is the Morphe Prep+Set. I just love how this is like a hairspray application rather than just like a spray in your face. Like, it's just, it's so good and it smells so good. So I'm just going to apply that just all over. And then I just take a piece of paper. I'm going to take a ColourPop magazine thingy. And I'm just going to like fan it on my face to really melt it in. So I went ahead and did my eyebrows and my lips off of camera just because this is a foundation routine anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I really hope you guys like this video tutorial thing that I did for you guys. This is how I get my makeup to stay on so long. This is how I get my makeup to look so good. And I hope you guys took away something from this. Maybe it encourages you to go buy something to make your makeup stay on longer, maybe a new primer, new foundation, maybe some setting powder that you didn't have before. But if you do have any questions, I would love to answer them down below. And if you liked this video, give it a big thumbs up. Again, comment down below if you have any questions or want to see something different that I can make another video from. Please don't hesitate. And yeah, and if you really liked me, whatever, you can subscribe. Just saying. Alright guys, I will see you in my next video. Bye.